reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network.
You're logging into your favorite game, grinding out some gear. A couple of points added to your stats, and you have a virtual beer. Max level is pretty cool, but I'll remind you here, my friend. These games are not about the goal, it's about the journey and not the end.
You're listening to MMO Reporter, brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at audibletrial.com/MMO Reporter. And by Doghouse Systems. Choose your weapon with Doghouse Systems.
Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got, no matter what level they're at. Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of MMO Reporter. This is episode 281. I'm Chris, and I'm joined by the ever so under the weather Mr. at MMO Bill. Hello, Bill. Please tell me you're not dying, because I can't podcast without you.
Well, I mean, I think if we want to be negative about it, we're all dying, Chris. I'm just hoping that I've got another 100 years or so left.
Shut your mouth. I don't want to hear that talk.
I'm aiming for about 140. I'm going to inflict myself on this world for another century.
So
we should be on episode 12,050 by then, or whatever that is. More than that, I guess.
We will literally become the old Hobbits from LOTRO Reporter, for those of you who remember that.
Yeah, that wasn't a skit. That was a preview.
Yes, exactly. All right, we do have some news to talk about this week, some stuff that does tie back to our old LOTRO Reporter days. But before we get to that, let's talk about what we have been doing in game. Bill, go for it.
Oh, geez, this is easy. Real life is finishing off the year for me, and I'm not going to be that sad to see 2016 go, but I have been picking away at World of Warcraft. I've still got that priest that I'm into Wrath of the Lich King content for now, so I'm just kind of picking away at that. I found that when I've got some time, I can actually burst through some dungeons pretty quick by just queuing up as a healer, because with the way the priest is working out is almost all the stats for DPS and healing line up very nicely. So the gear that I get for DPS actually works for healing, at least as far as Pug LFG dungeons are concerned. So I've been able to burst through some levels that way. So that's good, as opposed to my normal classes where I'm queuing up as DPS and waiting hours and hours for something to pop.
Right.
But I'm noticing, actually, what was curious is that Burning Crusade, I was never in the queue for more than 5 seconds before I got a dungeon. The longest I ever waited was a minute. Yep. But in Wrath of the Lich King, in the LFG dungeons there, I'm waiting 5-10 minutes every time.
Weird.
Except for one run where I got a group that just wanted to rerun Utgard Keep over and over and over and over again.
Why?
So, it's fast. It's easy XP.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think it's all people that are just. Here. It's all people that are just burning through. I think it has to do with the fact that Death Knights all start at level 58, which is when people can start leveling in Burning Crusade. So anyone who's starting a Death Knight can do those dungeon runs quickly, and then everything disperses after that. So, so we'll see. But I'm hoping that that's going to be my holiday project, is to try to get that character dungeon worthy, and maybe do our Wednesday night streams with some Shadow Priest instead of our resident Belf Rogue.
That would be nice. Although that would put all of our DPS at range.
Yep. Well, you're a good tank. You don't need company up there.
Gonna get lonely. That's okay. Then plus, everybody on the stream will be able to see my awesomeness.
I was gonna say, having an extra healer in the group might not be a bad thing.
As you said several times last week, our healer is literally the devil.
Yeah.
So Okay, as for me, we've been playing WoW together, and we've been playing WoW separately, and I have also been playing WoW. I got my mage up another level, but mostly been doing my dailies on my paladin, trying to get my eye level up. I'm up to 837, I think. It's just, I'm at the point now where a lot of my gear is like 845, but I've got those couple of things. I think I've got one ring and like some gloves or something that are super low, like 820, 815. So I'm getting gear because my eye level is lower. I'm getting gear, but I'm getting like a chest piece that's no better than what I've got, or back piece that's no better than what I got. Yeah. So I'm waiting for those specific drops.
Well, for all the armor pieces, you can get your class piece, right? Like if you've actually finished the story quest for your class thing, you can actually just pay out gold and buy whatever.
No, a couple of them are locked behind reputations. So
okay.
I don't have those reputations yet. So
okay.
That's why I'm waiting. One of those, I think I could get through that, but and the other thing was to use order resources to bump up, which I did for one of my items.
Yeah, that's what I was
to bump it up. Yeah.
Because once you've completed that whole chain and you've got your order hall completely upgraded, those order resources are only for missions and upgrades anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've been doing that. I got a code for Final Fantasy 15, so I've been playing that.
Nice.
My goal is to actually do a video in the new year that compares some open world games, mostly focusing on Final Fantasy 15 and Witcher 3, and talking about, for those of us who solo our way through a lot of our MMO experience, can these games scratch that itch and get that element out of the way? So that maybe, you can look at something. I'm not going to get hammered for microtransaction purchases in Final Fantasy 15 or Witcher 3, right? And so, it's a different way of maybe getting the same gameplay in. So I'm gonna look at that for those two games. So far, I'm 4 chapters into Final Fantasy 15, and it's pretty good. I'm enjoying it. The story's good. The combat is fun. I'll get into more details, though, as I get the game completed. And, of course, my mainstay, my one and only Titanfall 2, is just... It's a large part of my life right now, and I'm not a Twitch gamer, so I have to play. It's funny because, like a lot of our audience, I don't necessarily have the best Twitch gameplay like a lot of the younger players do. I'm not the younger player anymore, so I play Last Titan Standing, which is always in the Titans, which move quite a bit slower. And even in the fastest moving Titan there, my reaction time is quick enough that I'm competitive in everything. So I main a Legion and I main a Ronin as well. Well, not main, but like a Ronin, which is like a sword-wielding badass robot. There's nothing quite like getting a kill with your sword and you stab. Yeah, good stuff.
Glad we're not in the same room. That's good. So... But I'm assuming you're playing Titanfall 2 on a console?
PS4, yeah. It was right around surgery time that I got it, and so I was stuck on the couch, so I knew that would be a good fit.
Yeah. Well, I figured your laptop wouldn't really run it.
No. And I'm just going to get into what our chat room is doing. If you're just joining us in the chat room, you can dump what you've been doing in there, and hopefully I'll be able to see it before I move on to the next segment. We do have Acre 2007 has been playing Final Fantasy 15. Woo! WoW, Hearthstone, Pokemon Go. By the way, the watch app for that is out or coming very, very soon. So it doesn't let you catch the Pokemon, but pretty much everything else. And Heroes of the Storm, another game I need to spend more time in. And then Gump's Gang has been playing DDO, pushed from level 14 to 24. Wow, that's huge. For DDO players, like the level scale is much shorter in DDO, so that's like getting through a couple of expansions in WoW.
Yeah, well, I was going to say it's not quite a 10-to-1 ratio, but it might be a 5-to-1 ratio. So that is huge.
Yeah, I remember the sub levels Might have been 5 or 10 in there, yeah. All right, and playing Lotro Yule Festival fell into the Guild Wars 2 hole for a week with the new Warrior a couple of weeks ago, and ESO has some double XP, so he's been in ESO as well, and we've got an ESO story coming later on in the show. Want to take a quick moment to thank our patrons, patreon.com/MMO Reporter. I'll actually be letting some new information out in a little bit because we're going to need some help as we make some changes to the network coming into the new year. So you can expect some stuff from us coming out about that in 2017. If you'd like to become a patron, go check out patreon.com/MMO Reporter and help support the network. We're also trying out Podbean, if you want to try that out and see what our content looks like over on Podbean. They also have a app that you can get on your phone where you can follow the podcast and stuff there and get all the episodes delivered right to your phone in a different way. If you have a whole bunch, it's basically a different podcatcher if you want to look at it in that way. But we're looking at Podbean, so go check out. Let us know what you think and what you like or don't like about it as we look at maybe moving our stuff over there. So let's move things along, Bill, because I think it's time to move to the news.
It can be to pull the boss from me. More than deeps is all you have to do to make the raid. Then you wouldn't have to say that you.
This is an interesting story that I actually saw for the first time when Carrie, co-host of Lotro Reporter, shared it through our Twitter account. And I saw that the Lotro and DDO teams, most of them, the majority of them, if not all of them, are actually spinning off from Turbine into their own company called Standing Stone Games. Now they are fully. I asked this. I sent an email to Jerry Snook, who's a Cordovan, the community manager, if there's any connection to Turbine, if they were just a subsidiary or if they were, wholly owned by Turbine but their own thing. Standing Stone Games is independently owned and has no connection to Turbine or WB. The one connection that they do have is that Daybreak Games, formerly SOE, is their publisher. Now, we haven't heard anything about any sort of investment on Daybreak's part to make this happen. It's very often that publishers will put money into the developers of the game to make things happen. Perhaps Daybreak has a stake in it. And of course, for those of you who don't remember, Daybreak is owned by an investment company, which is, what are they called? Columbus Nova. So they are used to investing in different things. Before we get to the discussion here, a couple of quick points. The game teams responsible for Lord of the Rings Online and Dungeons & Dragons Online are now moving from Turbine to Standing Stone Games. Our development continues on track, and the plans we have already announced remain firmly in our future view. Again, although we are a new studio, we are also the same developers and have been and will continue to work on our games. Bill, discuss.
Okay. So yeah, this is, I mean, it's shocking, but it really shouldn't be, because we've kind of had the impression that Warner Brothers didn't have a lot of time or patience for Lord of the Rings Online or DDO for quite a long time now. Like clearly Warner Brothers got into the Lotro game because they were in bed with that IP. They were making the movies. They were that was part of their milieu. But now that the movies have kind of subsided and that Lord of the Rings isn't really a hot IP in that sense anymore, yeah, you could see that Warner Brothers was bored of it, and you could see that in kind of how staffing went. You could see kind of how tough it was to get like hardware upgrades to deal with lag and that kind of thing. Were going. It was a little. The painting was kind of. The writing was on the wall for that, I think. So again, but it's a massive move, and the way it's framed here, where Standing Stone Games, so like I said, or like you said off the top, Standing Stone Games is independently owned animal. So they run Lord of the Rings Online. They run DDO. It's published by Daybreak, of course, but the development process and the making of the game is they're in their own stack, which is huge because that kind of means that it's not just a side project that's the fourth tier of the eighth most popular manager in a gigantic conglomerate. This is now everybody in there is 100% focused on the core competency, sorry to throw that word out there, of the entire company. No, but I mean, it makes a big difference, right?
No, totally,
if I mean, I think everybody can feel a little bit more involved in your product when you know this is the thing that brings home the bacon for every person in the whole company. So that's a really positive thing. So I think it's probably for an older game like this where you were kind of wondering how solid the footing was, this is a huge positive. It's really the best thing you could have possibly hoped for, because realistically, who else out there is going to jump on this game and say, we're going to invest in it and we're going to make sure it runs for the next 30 years and we're going to make everybody who works for you stinking rich and everything like that? That wasn't a realistic option anywhere. So to me, the next best thing is complete self-determination. It goes exactly as far as you take it. So for the people over at Standing Stone to be able to carry this forward for Lotro and DDO, it seems like a really positive thing on the front. Now, that said, the association with Daybreak, I mean, Daybreak has had a little bit of a stink on it this year for canceling projects. I mean, obviously EverQuest Next was the big one, and people are kind of wondering, well, yeah, dude, what's in it for Daybreak here? But obviously Daybreak isn't running the game. They're not developing the game. They're just publishing it. And publishing in this case basically means getting the infrastructure running, keeping the servers going, and that kind of thing. So I'm not sure how that affects I'm assuming that means they're running like the e-commerce for the game and everything like that. So the monetization of the game is probably going to be dictated fairly heavily by Daybreak, but it's still ultimately being developed by Standing Stone.
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I have a question for you, though, before I share my opinion on this. Do you think this was a couple of people that have put together the funds to do this, or do you think it was a crowdsourced within the team, everybody's got a stake in it, everybody put their retirement savings into it sort of thing, and we have this separate company?
See, I have a sneaky suspicion this didn't cost a lot of money, because I doubt that Lord of the Rings Online and DDO were big money makers for Warner Brothers. I would even argue that maybe they weren't even helping the bottom line at Warner Brothers, if I were to guess. I don't know that for a fact. Obviously, we don't have those kind of numbers or anything like that. Plus, wild speculation is what we deal in here. But I mean, I'm not seeing I'm not seeing a source where there's a big wad of money that somebody could have waved at Warner Brothers to say, here you go, give us this valuable property. All I'm seeing is Warner Brothers being able to kind of wash their hands and not having to manage these two properties, and Daybreak stepping in and being able to do what they do, which is host games and deliver them to gamers, established games that they don't have to launch or get off the ground or anything like that. Maybe Daybreak helped kind of grease the wheels a little bit for this deal, but I don't think this is a big financial transaction.
Well, that's not necessarily where the costs would come from. They've got to meet payroll. They've got to set up a lease for a new studio. They have to move stuff. They have to do this. They have to do that. It is a financial investment to start a new studio like they have here. So there has to be an ownership. Is that ownership a couple of people, or is the ownership split amongst the teams?
I'd be curious to know if how much of that is actually the case, because from what it sounds like, the teams are remaining mostly intact. Like, I don't think they were at the Giganto Warner Brothers offices anyway. I think Turbine had kind of been at their own studio for a long time. And so are you saying you think that they're still in the same studio and just subleasing space from Turbine sort of thing? could very well be. I don't know. Like again, the transition here seems almost too smooth for this to be I feel like there would have been more news about the financial transaction here if there was a significant financial transaction to be had. Well, no, because these are all publicly traded companies, right? This would have been
Standing
somewhere.
Stone Games isn't.
Yeah, but Turbine and Warner Brothers certainly. Well, Warner Brothers certainly is.
Yeah.
So that would have been. I mean, even if it wouldn't have been moving the needle very much on like Forbes or something like that, it certainly would have. It would have filtered through into kind of the gaming news, and there would have been a dollar figure attached to it. I don't know. I kind of think that this is a mutually beneficial thing for Standing Stone and Turbine Warner Brothers, because Turbine clearly has their own direction where they want to be developing mobile games. And that was we've known that for quite a while, that was the future for them, that they weren't going to be doing MMOs or traditional style game or traditional style online games anymore. So now Warner Brothers and Turbine gets that off their plate. They don't have that responsibility or that level of management to deal with anymore. And Standing Stone gets that self-determination that they get to carry on with what they know and they love about the game that they've nursed along for 10 years for DDO and almost 10 years for Lotro.
And according to Gubsgang in the chat, Cordovan, Jerry Snook mentioned in the live stream that they're saying the current offices that they have now.
Oh, cool.
So, there you go.
So, like I said, this seems smooth, and I mean, I hope this is a shot in the arm. Like, I would love to see. I noticed in reading in some of the news about this too, they're starting to talk up obviously the Mordor expansion that's going to be coming up too. So I'm hoping that, and we've always talked about that being quote unquote the end game for Lord of the Rings Online. So hopefully this move gives them a chance to be a little bit free creatively to do what they want there and give that game a good boost and shot in the arm, because yeah, like I said, this could wind up being the best thing you could possibly hope for, and really reflective of kind of how the MMO industry is today anyway, because we've talked about this a ton of times. We're really past that whole blockbuster mega studio gigantic MMO release. We haven't seen anything like that for quite a while now, and the companies that are doing well, the ones that are kind of living in this space, are a little bit more agile. They're focused only on the product that they make. They do their the monetization is obviously, I mean, Lord of the Rings Online, I don't want to say they invented free to play, but they were certainly right on the bleeding edge of it.
DDO, yeah.
So, and DDO, yeah. So, I mean, they're obviously, these are both teams that kind of understand how the landscape was changing even back then. So I think there's a real opportunity that they can drive this forward, and this will be a positive thing. I'm hoping. I'm fingers crossed.
All right, second question for you. Do you think that this was we're shutting down the games, well, just hold on, what if we try this situation?
I wonder.
So do I. I've got a strong feeling that although it might never be stated, that could have been a very strong undercurrent behind whatever discussion was going on.
I have a feeling that's probably a discussion that's been going on at the Warner Brothers level for a long time, that there's somebody out there that says, why do we even run these anymore? And that's probably someone that has nothing to do with the games division. They're probably just, well, anyway, I'm not going to speculate too far on that, but I would bet that there's been that discussion or that option hanging over forever. So
yeah,
maybe that's a drum that started getting beat a little bit louder. I don't know. And somebody had kind of said, or maybe some smart person who's over at Standing Stone now really saw the writing on the wall that this is kind of the direction it was going, that if they didn't kind of get a little bit of self-determination here, they were going to get sold off to some nightmare situation where that wouldn't be good. Like maybe if I don't know, like maybe this is something that like maybe going over to a perfect world or something like that was something that was on the table, and maybe that's not as good a situation as being able to run your own show. I don't know. Yeah,
I strongly think that they came up with this to save the games, as Gumps Gang is saying in the chat as well. I really do, and I'm kind of okay with that. I think let's close this one off. We've got a little bit more to talk about from Turbine in a second, but before we do that, I want to say the same thing that I said on Lotro Reporter, which is after covering Lotro and playing Lotro and DDO for 6 or 7 years now. We've been playing since pretty much launch. And pretty close to DDO launch, too. We were in there. I really do trust the team at Standing Stone Games in whatever they're going to do. I know they've made some mistakes before. We don't need to talk about cosmetics dummies because they were dummies for doing that. But there's just a sense of trust that I have for the team. And I feel like all of a sudden now I know that this game is going to be around for at least a couple of years, because there's no way these people would put their livelihood on the line for something that they were going to cancel mid-2017. So I'm excited. This makes me more excited than worried. Way more excited than worried.
Yeah,
what about you?
Think I agree. I think there's a better path to success the way it's built now, or the way that that company is structured now, I think. Obviously, it's still a risky move, that anything could happen. I think that if you wanted to look at 2017 as a whole, if they did nothing, I bet you it was a bigger risk than what they're doing now. So I think, I agree. I think this is a good path. This is hopefully a positive step for everybody, and I think this is the best path to success for Lord of the Rings Online and DDO.
Agreed. Now, something that unfortunately no longer has a path to success is the duo of games Asheron's Call and Asheron's Call 2.
Not so fast, but go ahead.
Well, they are both set to close on January 31st.
Yes. So that's obviously a big deal. So yeah, as part of the deal for Standing Stone Games, or not part of the deal, Asheron's Call and Asheron's Call 2 were not
part of the deal.
We're just not part of the deal. So they are going to be sunset. Clearly, Turbine and Warner Brothers don't want that on their plate. Standing Stone obviously didn't want it. Daybreak maybe didn't want to run it. I don't know who didn't want it, but obviously these are old.
I think the answer is everybody, Bill.
Now, I mean, Asheron's Call, to be fair, it's I mean, it's sad to see any game go, especially with the one that I actually cut my MMO teeth on. That is a sad thing, but that's also 17 years ago now. Think about that for a second.
No, it's not 17 years.
17 years for Asheron's Call.
Oh my God. Okay.
They were partying like it was 1999 when Asheron's Call came out.
Oh my God, that makes me feel old. Here's the thing. I don't care who they have to hire, how much they have to pay, or what they have to do, but they need to recreate the comet coming to Asheron's Call from the end of closed beta. Again, if they do not, they are wasting the best end of beta and store. Like, I will be there. I will play Asheron's Call from now until it closes if they promise this event as part of the ending, because that's my biggest MMO memory. And if they leave character creation on, please, just for me. Thanks.
Well, now think about this here for a second. Yeah, that was the Charwick attack. I remember that, so that was good. But to me, Asheron's Call, and maybe to a lesser degree Asheron's Call 2, I didn't have as much of an investment in that. I bought it and tried it and didn't last very long. But Asheron's Call is a prime candidate for handing over to the community to be able to allow player run shards or something like that. Honestly, I don't know what could possibly be there that they wouldn't be willing to open up for the community. Like what technology in Asheron's Call today is going to be proprietary to something else that somebody else is running? That just seems completely foreign to me. So yes, they're closing on January 31st. There's got to be somebody out there who's making some kind of push or some kind of argument to say, okay, hand over the files that you need to run your server to somebody, put it up on an FTP site somewhere, and let some enterprising soul create Asheron's Call Reborn or something like that.
And
Why not? Tell me why
there's-
not.
There's been a lot of discussion in the community because there was a plan earlier to do that, to hand over. And it was mentioned in the Massively OP article that we have linked in the show notes as well, that was the case, that it was supposed to happen, and now it's not. And it makes me think that it's a legal issue somewhere. Maybe it's a Microsoft issue. Maybe Microsoft is saying, sorry, we own 0.37% of the IP, and if we can't play with our ball, we're going to take it and go home.
Keep in mind, though, that Microsoft is actually heavily into the open source community with a lot of their products now too. Like, I won't get into this, won't become a technical podcast, but they've open source stuff like PowerShell and .NET, and like these are huge tools that they had before that were their own walled garden. So it's not like Microsoft is it's not like they're ignorant to the notion of actually throwing stuff out to the community for the benefit of themselves and everybody. So I'd be surprised. I don't know. I guess I wouldn't be that surprised, but I would be surprised if it was Microsoft holding it up. Clearly, there's something. And I mean, I don't want to try to simplify this down to the level to say, oh, they just hand over Asheron's call.exe to somebody and let them run it from their computer. It's clearly not that simple. But I mean, we've also seen a lot of arguments around the Nostalgia server and that kind of thing, that this kind of game archaeology, to borrow a term from Massively, that it's an important thing. And I think it would be really sad to lose this piece of MMO history just as a kind of a ignominious, what's that word? Sunsetting. It's
too big of a word for me, Bill. It's more in your vocabulary.
I wish I had it, but
the last connection to what we do as well is that's the first MMO that we played together. We hadn't played any MMOs. I played Ultima Online. I don't think you did.
No.
And Asheron's Call was shortly thereafter. It was sort of the first 3D one. I remember the travel portal so well. I remember my starting zone, and I can totally picture this, and I don't know if you can as well, but wherever I started after the tutorial, I would go down the road and to the right, and there was a hill and a waterfall, and I ground so many mobs at that waterfall. And there was a forest to the left, and then the town was sort of back where I totally remember that very, very well, 17 years ago, and I can still picture that in my mind.
Oh,
Tells you how powerful that memory was.
Oh, for sure. I still remember fighting Ulthoi all over the place. I remember manually writing down spell component combinations so that I could memorize and learn new spells. I mean, there's a lot of vivid memories there too, and I think that one of the things that I liked about it is that was its own original established lore too. Like it wasn't an IP. It wasn't. I mean, not to bash on Lord of the Rings Online, of course, or anything, because I really appreciate that as a setting. But it was brand new. It wasn't a real trope. Like it wasn't blatantly stolen from somebody else's lore or anything like that. It was just this platform that they built to create this open MMO experience, and it's a valuable thing, and it's an important chapter in MMO history. So it's sad to see it go, but I still, like I said, if there was anything that was going to get a project to carry it on after its sunset here, is I think Asheron's Call. I would say Asheron's Call is even more likely than all the efforts and push to get City of Heroes back to life. I think that there will be a push for this.
I hope so. All right, let's move things along to our sponsors. Go to audiblepodcast.com/MMO Reporter if you want to try out the internet's best audiobook provider. They have some great... I was actually discussing with somebody just the other night how much I enjoy Will Wheaton's narrations whenever he's reading a book, because he's a very evocative reader, and I really like how he sets a world for you. It's very easy to see the world in front of you as he reads. So audiblepodcast.com/MMO Reporter, and you can get your first month free, which gets you 1 credit, and it's a subscription service, so you get 1 credit a month for signing up for their service. And then we get a little bit of help as well. And Doghouse Systems, use the coupon code MMO Reporter when you order your new Doghouse Systems, perfect for the holidays, and you will actually get an upgrade to a 480 gig SSD with your purchase. I just tested it as we were waiting here and used our coupon code. So yeah, that's a pretty killer deal.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all. Go check it out, doghousesystems.com, and use the coupon code MMO Reporter, and you will get yourself a kick-ass upgrade. Pull that world boss out a party, run through trash, you'll be sorry. Take a bio break without announcing. They may not rhyme, but they're quite possibly dumbest ways to die. Dumbest ways to die. Dumbest ways to die. Okay, coming out of our sponsor mentions here, I wanted to talk a little bit about ESO. And I know we had some people talking about ESO in the chat room earlier, so I'm happy to talk about it now. They are adding in there, they're calling it their Homestead update. They are adding player housing. So, yeah, it's going to be a pretty big thing, actually. It's going to be a whole experience to get into it. You do this quest, and then you get a starter room at an inn that you can decorate and furnish and stuff like that. But moving on from there, you will be able to get up to, not up to, but one of 40 unique homes that are styled after the different playable races. And if you bought the Imperial edition of the game, or the upgrade to your account for that, you will have an Imperial style house as well, because of course Imperial is any faction and stuff like that. So you are going to be able to get unfurnished houses available for in-game gold or crowns. But if you want a fully furnished one, you're going to have to pay crowns, which is their real money currency. And I'm going to read a quote here because it's interesting. If you want to purchase most unfurnished homes for gold, the local residents in that zone will ask that you prove yourself worthy to reside among them. No one wants an unhelpful neighbor. After all, by completing a specific achievement, you will earn their approval and unlock the ability to buy the associated home in that zone.
You know, that's actually a little bit brilliant, I think. I mean, I think about Dark Age of Camelot, and I think about Lord of the Rings Online. They were my big kind of housing experiences. But to me, that sounds like a way to make sure that you don't get stale neighborhoods, that you get empty houses that people just don't log into anymore. If you have to prove yourself to become a good neighbor, I'm assuming too, and maybe this isn't a good assumption, but I'm assuming that you're going to have to regularly prove yourself that you want to make sure that the rat infestation doesn't take over the neighborhood or something like that. That'll be a good way to make sure that there's good turnover on housing, that you don't get a stale house for somebody that hasn't logged in 6 months or something like that. I like that idea. I think, and not to mention, it encourages people to, like, play the game instead of just building a tall house.
And they don't mention that, but that would be an interesting part of it if they did have that. It's kind of cool. There's going to be over 2,000 unique decorative items. Some items are going to be locked behind achievements, and some are going to be luxury items. Both of those are going to rotate through, or not rotate. The luxury items are going to rotate, but they're going to have special vendors for those things so that you can buy those. You'll be able to place items and NPCs so you can craft and stuff, including building your own library of readable books.
Oh, cool.
Which I know there's a very strong minority of players who read every book in the game, and that all the more power to them. All the more power.
I don't have a problem with that. I don't know. I know you don't care about lore, but I love a good lore experience in a game is very important. I think where it would get you in is if you see, now here's something, and this is completely derailing here, but think about this as if you had a house and you had a library, and there was, and the motivation to build your library and expand that library in your house would be completing quests to piece together lore books that eventually turn into an in-game cinematic.
Okay, there, done. I'm in.
Now you're sold on in-game lore, aren't you?
Done. Don't even have to think about it. Don't care about how convoluted it is. None of that. Cinematic, I'm in. I'm good.
Yeah, and I'm thinking it doesn't even need to be a theater quality cinematic or Blizzard quality cinematic, even if it's just in-game engine stuff, but it still tells the story for the stuff that you're collecting, and that you could come back and review it. So people could, you could even make your house a travel point. People go visit your house because you can display the story of Elfie the elf defeating the evil dragon.
Elfie the elf, I love it.
I know,
love
right?
It, love it.
I'm a lore wizard, so I don't know. I know that's not here. I'm totally just going off the rails or anything like that. But if I was building an MMO and I was building a library system in the housing system, that's what it would do.
Yeah. Okay, a few tidbits here because they do add a little bit of information. Houses are instant, so you don't have to worry about racing to grab the perfect spot of land. I remember how big of a part of Arcage that one was. They have huge land rushes. Furniture, you create furniture via furniture crafting, can be sold to other players. You'll be able to preview homes before you purchase, furnished and unpurchased. You can set permissions for visiting and for decorating your house. And there's going to be convenient fast travels to your home via the world map, similar to how the way shrines work. And homes are secure. Other players are not able to break into homes and steal items. I think on if you have your PvP flag on, you should be able to do that. Don't you? Come on. And then it could be a whole like raiding other people's houses element of the game.
See, I could see that going into a game like I think I've mentioned it before, but Shroud of the Avatar, where there's a little bit of expectation that there's some harsh PvP. And I mean, I know Shroud of the Avatar isn't a PvP game, but there are PvP zones. If you want to build your house in a PvP zone, I could see that being a kind of a fun little mechanic there, where maybe you can't steal somebody's house because, let's be real, it's hard to steal somebody's house, but breaking in and hiding in the closet or something like creepy like that could be, I don't know, that could be pretty interesting, actually.
Stealing stuff from people's houses would be fun.
Well, I'm thinking more like the whole horror movie thing where you hide in the closet and wait for them to come home. You might be waiting for a long time, but...
Then I could never play that game again. I'd get scared.
That one time that you get ganked in your own house.
That's right.
It's ruined you forever.
Throw my brand new computer across the room.
Yeah.
So they're not talking about how you decorate the houses, whether it's hooks, whether it's freeform or anything like that. But apparently more details, including UI elements for decorating, are coming in January. So excited to see that. I know there's some ESO players out there, quite a few. It's had quite the resurgence with the One Tamriel expansion. I think that was a big move for the game. And Gumps Gang says in the chat room, finally, we'll have a use for all the wood resources I've collected in ESO. Furniture crafting, FTW. All right, our quick mentions here. First off, Project Genome. I'm mentioning it because we've talked about it a bunch on the show. First beta is coming soon, so first closed beta. So hopefully we'll have some listeners in there, or maybe we'll get in there and be able to check it out, whether or not it's worth all the hoopla that has surrounded it.
Now, keep in mind too that even in the press release here, they spell out in press release equivalent of big bold letters that this is in alpha. If you're not interested in playing an alpha game with alpha issues, just come back later, because it's not there. And if you read this, the kind of the most prevalent Steam reviews that are out there and everything, the game is still rough. It's still being made, but it's got a very neat premise. So I it's one that I'm keen to keep an eye on, but I'm not ready to try to play yet.
Yeah. It is in the Steam Winter Sale if you do want to purchase it, but again, keep those things that Bill just mentioned in mind. Next quick mention, another City of Heroes spiritual successor we're going to watch is Ship of Heroes. What the heck is this about, Bill?
Yeah, this is one I actually added at the last minute here. I saw this pop up. Basically, I mean, we've had a bunch of different games kind of come along as claiming to be the spiritual successor for City of Heroes, and this is another one for that pile. But this one I thought had it's a curious premise. So for some reason, we're taking the city of let's talk about this in the context of City of Heroes, because let's be real, that's the context. We've got a city that has heroes in it, okay? But this is not a city, this is a spaceship. It's a spaceship flying heroes around the universe. because that's how heroes get around, and presumably there will be crime to fight for these heroes and villains and stuff like that, but it's all in a spaceship. I'm not quite sure how the spaceship piece comes into the whole game. Again, very new game, but anyways, curious premise, one worth keeping an eye on, I think.
Maybe it should be called Shippy of Heroes.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. No.
There's never been a game that had the word shippy in the title, so you might get something for that.
Maybe. There's a game that's starting to get into some betas. I know I've seen some key giveaways and stuff like that on some other sites. Revelations Online. We'll have a link to the YouTube video in here, of course, with the potato-powered computer. I'm not able to run the usual video one and show it for our YouTube audience, but we'll have the link here. It's very similar in aesthetic to Skyforge, Terra, Arcade, Black Desert Online. Very, very similar to Skyforge in feel, it looks to me. Yeah. Some nice steampunk elements to it. But what we want to know is what you think. Is this something that you're excited about? Is this something that you want us to discuss on the show? I'm mixed, at least, about it. It seems to me to have a lot of generic aspects to it. But I want to know what you think. If you're excited about it, let us know, and maybe I'll take another look. What do you think, Bill?
I'm willing to keep an eye on it for our community if they want to do that, especially our patrons. I'm going to throw that out there. I love you all, but I love our patrons just that much more.
Just a little bit more. Okay, so that's it for our quick mentions. We're going to get into what we are playing next week. As we do this, chat room, if you want to let us know what you're going to be playing next week, we'll make sure to mention it at the end of this segment. It's about that time of year where I can tell you a few things that I'm going to be playing, but I'll save that part for the end here. I'm going to be playing WoW. That's just a given right now. That's a very big part of what I think both you and I are playing, and I think it's kept our attention for the longer time after an expansion that any expansion has had for WoW since Wrath, right?
Yep. Oh, I'm happy to say that this is at least the best expansion since Wrath of the Lich King, if not the best one they've done, period.
Interesting thing, and this kind of blew my mind as well, the WoW world has now been post-Cataclysm longer than it was pre-Cataclysm.
What? So, hang on, back the train up here a second. So you're saying that Cataclysm has been out longer than WoW was out before the Cataclysm.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw that hurts. Okay, yeah. I got you with the 17 years for Asheron's Call. That makes me feel old. Because to me, Cataclysm still feels new.
Right? Yeah, exactly. I remember taking my Death Knight out to the watery, swampy area. Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible.
There you go. You're welcome, Bill. I will be playing some more Final Fantasy 15, some more Titan. Apparently, I spelled Titan Phil, but Titanfall 2, and you never know what I'm going to get for Christmas. So I'll probably be playing that too.
Oh, you're going to be playing the
whatever
handshake I give you for Christmas?
Yeah, exactly. All right, Bill, what about you? What are you going to be playing in the next week? Well, a couple weeks, I guess, because we're going to take a week off here for the holidays.
Yeah, so I've got a vacation coming up, so I'm gonna play everything. I'm gonna keep picking away. I want to get my priest up to 110 on this vacation, so that's gonna be a project. I want to play some Civ 6. I've got the Eve installer sitting on my desktop right now. I'll probably take a run at that. I'm gonna start doing some Elite Dangerous again. I'm gonna do some Guild Wars 2 because that's my wife and my game to play together, so I'm looking forward to that and get some game time in that way. I don't know, I've been kind of itching to play Elder Scrolls Online, even Skyrim a little bit too, and kind of do a little bit of side-by-side comparison between the two there. That actually might go nicely with your Final Fantasy versus Witcher open world thing, like compare two games in the same space, one's open world and one's MMO open world. But anyway, no, I've got big plans. I've even got the Rift icon sitting in its spot to be run to try to level up more. I'm trying, Chris. I really want to.
I know you do, Bill. Just makes me sad. I haven't been able to play it very much either because my stupid computer... Sorry. I'll get back to normal now.
You're going to get a new computer for Christmas, I can tell. It's happening.
Yep. And Gumpsgang in the chat room says more Lotro Yule, a bit more DDO, ESO double XP again, and then maybe some Final Fantasy 14. Ooh,
I saw your tweet about Final Fantasy 14. The price was appealing, but when you have to, I still don't have a PS4. I'm that guy that doesn't have a
PC as well.
No, that sale was only for PS4. Yeah.
Darn it. Because the accounts are cross-platform. It's too bad that.
Well, I was looking it up. The Final Fantasy 14 looks like there's no subscription as long as you maintain a PS Gold subscription or whatever their equivalent is. So, like, you don't have to subscribe specifically to Final Fantasy 14, and maybe somebody can correct me if I read that wrong. But
you did, because I had to subscribe when I went to play it, unless they've changed it in the last little while.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because I had a PlayStation Gold subscription, so yeah.
Okay.
No, it's not PlayStation Gold. I forget what it's called, but
yeah, I know what you. I know. Yeah, I was just throwing it out there. I don't remember it, so
it's Xbox Gold. But it's not Xbox Live Gold. Okay,
PlayStation Awesome, we'll call it.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so that is the entirety of our show. Oh, PC sales started today for Final Fantasy 14. There you go, Bill. There you go.
Oh. Okay, considered.
There you go. Maybe
I'll put it on my Christmas list. We'll see if Santa finds it.
Maybe somebody can make a Patreon donation or a donation on MMOReporter.com/support and tag it as Final Fantasy 14 for Bill.
There you go.
All right, Bill, if people do want to get a hold of us, how can they do that?
Well, there are a bunch of ways for that. They can find us over at MMOReporter.com to visit our website there. They can find us over at our email address, that email thing that people have been doing for a little while now, MMO.reporter@gmail.com. Yeah. Bleeding Edge Tech. You can find us over on Facebook at facebook.com/MMO Reporter. You can tweet at either of us, either at MMO_reporter for Chris or at MMO Bill for yours truly. You can give us a call at 616-666-6778. Leave us a voicemail. Speaking of old tech, leave us a voicemail. Let us know what you think about anything, and chances are excellent that we will find a way to squeeze it into one of our shows if you like. If you would like to visit our YouTube channel, you can head over to youtube.com/MMO Reporter Network. You can hit our Patreon site at patreon.com/MMO Reporter. And if you're not a Patreon kind of person, head over to MMOReporter.com/support for other ways that you can help us out.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Bill. As always, a pleasure, a privilege even to record with you.
Oh, likewise, it was a blast. Like I said, it's sad news about the Asheron's Call stuff, but I still think that Lotro story's got to be one of the biggest stories we've had for quite a while. I like that.
Just when I was done crying, you brought that up again.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm all about the feels.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you. We had wonderful people in the chat room. Thanks for coming out and chatting with us, talking to us, at us, with us about MMOs. We sure appreciate it. It's a lot of fun. We hope that you enjoy the MP3, the video, however you may consume the podcast. We hope that you come back next week, but most importantly, we hope to see you in game.
Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got, no matter what level they're at. Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got, no matter what.
Thanks for watching the video, everybody. Don't forget to check out all the other podcasts at MMOReporter.com or by clicking on any of the links here. And please check out our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MMOReporter. Thanks, everyone, and see you in game.